York's only local show is back on its new home on York's only local station.
Guess who's back again.
This is the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK.
I'm back.
Now, broadcasting live from WOYK's downtown York studios inside Wellspan Park, here's Gary Sutton.
And welcome to Brooks Robinson Plaza here at Wellspan Park on a beautiful Friday morning. I am Gary Sutton. This is the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK. Mark McKenzie here today. It's all brought to you by our presenting sponsor, Barley Snyder Law Firm. Barley.com is where you can find out about them. Barley Snyder features a wide variety of practice areas. In fact, 29 different practice areas, industry groups and service teams, and they're all geared toward just one thing, helping you achieve your business goals. 130 plus lawyers throughout Pennsylvania and Maryland who are ready to get answers and settlements for you. Again, check them out at Barley.com right here in York. They're at 100 East Market Street. They're open 9 to 5, Monday through Friday, and you can give them a call at 717-846-8888. This is the main street of York here on a Friday morning, and lots going on. I'm leaving up the same question that I had for yesterday up at YouTube, Gary Sutton Show at YouTube. Give you a chance to spend some time thinking about that, and you can go in there this morning and find that. You can also check us out on YouTube later on today, just by going to WOYK if you want to listen to part of the show this morning or the whole thing again. And you can also go to my Just a Voice on Main Street blog. Let me check that again. Podcast, rather. Just a Voice on Main Street. That's also up on YouTube, and check that out. And don't forget, tonight, we'll bring you some baseball here this evening. We'll also be bringing you football as well, and looking forward to all of that. The baseball tonight is going to be, let's see, where are we at? We're in Long Island again. Yeah, 6:15 will be the airtime tonight with Daryl, and then 6:30 will be game time. First pitch. And high school football, we'll also be doing that tonight, and that'll be at 989WOYK.com. Southwestern at Dallastown. Gareth Hisson and Andy Bria will be in on that one as they call that game tonight. So two things going on at once, but we can walk and chew gum at the same time right here on our show and on WOYK. Well, maybe on WOYK. I'm not sure on our show if we can do that, Mark. But anyway, great.
All the time.
We do. We're multitaskers.
We are.
Extraordinaire. And great to be with you this morning here, the day after 9/11. Lots of different commemorations today yesterday around the country. And, of course, a lot of people had Charlie Kirk on their mind as well. We do have a picture now of a guy who is a person of interest. They found the rifle yesterday. We thought there would be some things that would be movement. The FBI well at work, and they're closing in. Now, there's a question also whether or not there was more than one person involved in this. And so all of that remains to be seen. We're not going to conjecture on that because that would not be right. Okay, so there you go. So we'll have more about that today as much as we know right now. Today is National Video Game Day. Mm-hmm. National Video Game Day.
I think you have to... Here's the difference. Here's the thing. To me, there is a difference, or there used to be a difference between the games that you played on like an Xbox or PlayStation and computer games, but they were all under the umbrella of video games.
Right.
I don't know that that's true anymore.
Huh.
A lot of the computer games, some of them used to be totally separate. You could do one, but you couldn't do the other.
Right.
Now, if it isn't been a system game, it's unlikely it's probably not available on your computer.
Does Pong count as any of those?
Pong, no.
Okay.
Yes, of course. And Switch. I don't know if you've ever played with a Switch. No. That's what the kids, I'm using air quotes.
Yes.
That's what the kids use. And what's neat about it is you can carry it around.
Okay.
And I played, let's see, what did I play? Baseball.
Oh, okay.
MLB. And, it wasn't too bad. But it's a real time killer. if you're waiting somewhere or you want to, I have my football game on my phone when I don't need my brain. I can do that.
Yeah, I used to play Tiger Woods, the Wii Tiger Woods golf game.
Yes.
And it was addictive. I have to tell you, it became addictive, and I stopped doing it. And I haven't played any video games since.
Now, how long ago was that?
Oh, well.
Well, you're a pretty busy guy, so.
Yeah, it was a long time ago. Yeah. But and I haven't really played a video game since. I don't have any interest. And my problem is, it's not even so much the interest. I don't have time to check all the directions and how to play and all the different things. And I'm just not interested in that.
See, and that's part of the high hurdle. I think older Americans or older people in general would get a lot of benefit out of it.
Oh, I've been reading some of the articles about it where people have said, it's cathartic. It challenges your brain. We talk about doing puzzles and crossword puzzles and all that. Well, it challenges your brain, and I think probably there's some truth to that. I just because I have enough to challenge my brain right now, I don't really need to.
But here's the but. The but is that the entry can be somewhat high. Maybe not in necessarily the cost, although, a video game system might cost you a couple $100, and then the game itself probably $70.
Right.
But the hours of enjoyment you might get out of it. But you have to learn the rules.
That's the problem.
That is the problem. Yeah. So there's a difference between just like the Madden game. Madden games are great. I mean, the stuff you can do. The plays you're choosing, and there's
but if
a difference.
You feel like you're the general manager of an NFL team and you're doing all this stuff, it probably is not a great thing.
And that's the other right. It's like how much control, and you can choose that how much control you want. But in the game, completing a pass is not the same thing as completing that pass and then having the special moves where you can do a couple of tricks and get out of a tackle and stiff arm, roll, things like that. I don't know how to do that.
Yeah.
And the shooter ones, I mean, I've watched my son play them because he's been playing them for a couple of decades. I watched him the other day, and the graphics are unbelievable. They're just unbelievable.
Yeah.
And the other aspect is playing online with other people.
Yeah.
Where you're wearing a headphone and a microphone, and you can talk to each other. So, there's that social aspect of it. But you come around a corner and bang, you're out of the game.
Right.
Like, well, how did they see me? How did they even know I was there?
Right.
And that gets kind of frustrating for an older person.
Well, for me, I would want to get to a point where I could be competitive. If I can't be competitive, then that's bad. I was telling you, I came in this morning. I shot a 71 yesterday in golf. It was one under, and I played really, really well. I beat my age. I was really excited. The other two guys shot 69, 3 under. We played for the second to back tees at the course I played at SA or Grandview, and I hit it well, and I putted well, and I played a good. But and you asked me a great question. You said, does that upset you? And I said, no. Honest. I kind of rooted for both guys to do well, my two friends, Jason and Tom, and they both did. They shot 69. Now, I wasn't playing them for anything, but I was competing against the course.
In and of itself.
Well, I know, but I was playing against the course, and I did well. So, I'm kind of, those are things I see. That's a world I understand.
Yeah, video games though,
it's a world I am foreign to.
You are playing against the game, but you can also play against other people.
Right.
You can play against.
Oh, I've got nephews and nieces that try to get me into all this stuff, and it's like, you know what? I save it. I have a feeling.
Well, and you know what? I think one of the reasons is because you're still active.
Well, that's right. I'm very active,
yes.
and I have a lot of things to do.
I don't mean just things to do. I mean, you're out playing golf just practically every day, and I'm very active as well. So I think that when that day comes, that I can't do that anymore,
you might turn to that.
I might, because I'm going to need the stimulation. My brain has been stimulated over a long period of time. doing these things, and I'm going to need a substitute of some sort. And I can't think of a better way of being Tom Brady with the Patriots and then getting the 2011, 2012, 2013 version.
There you go.
It is also, by the way, National Day of Encouragement.
Which is good.
Good job.
Yeah.
Good
Great
job.
Way to go today. And
National Policewoman's Day.
Okay. And again, thank you for your service to those ladies who are police, those women who are police. You serve the community. We are very proud to stand with you.
And an important one for those who I was a member of the American Cancer Society for a long time. Today, Stand Up to Cancer Day.
Yes.
So usually they have a show on across several platforms, and I guess they still do that. And that'd be tonight. Also, food holiday.
Okay.
Not a bad one. Although I haven't had one in a while. National Chocolate Milkshake Day. See, if you're going to delineate, we have hamburger, then we have cheeseburger. So why not, chocolate milkshake?
I was at a place the other day where they had a mini child's chocolate milkshake, and I said, I can't drink a whole big one. They said, would you like the mini child chocolate milkshake?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And it was someplace, it wasn't a brand, it wasn't like a brand name, a franchise. Mm-hmm. And I had it, and I had about 4 sips.
And what did you think?
And it was great. But I couldn't go beyond that. It was too sweet for me. But I'll tell you what, the 4 sips I had, I was lingering in Mackenzie fashion on them. I was, oh my gosh, these are amazing. But I just can't get by, any more than that. And that's
you don't have to.
Every bit of food, but it was enough to just savor it.
That's it. That's all it is. Life doesn't require you to stuff your face.
It's not a mouse.
It just requires you to
quality.
Enjoy and sample, yes.
Yes. Thank you, Dr. McKenzie.
Yes.
There are, so I was looking at an interesting pitch that was made by a Pennsylvania lawmaker, and what they want to do. Now, think about this. This guy is pitching a plan. I don't know how to fly in the state house, the state senate, but he wants to incentivize state residents to hit the gym. You were talking about people who can still do that. Mm-hmm. There are many reasons to avoid working out: lack of time, lack of energy, lack of motivation, lack of really wanting to do it. But a Pennsylvania,
all of those are very popular.
All of the above. But a Pennsylvania lawmaker wants to take away at least one excuse by making gym membership a bit more affordable for Commonwealth residents. His name's Representative Joe Hogan. Okay. He's preparing a bill that would establish tax benefits called Pennsylvania Physical Health Improvement Tax Credits of up to $1,000 to offset the cost of joining the gym or health club.
Cool.
He says incentivizing exercise will improve the health of Pennsylvanians.
Yes.
And could benefit the Commonwealth by decreasing health insurance rates and Medicaid costs. This makes way too much sense. Okay. So he has yet to introduce his legislation. People probably try to talk about it because it makes too much sense. But there's a similar proposal under consideration in Ohio where a lawmaker wants to create a personal tax deduction of $1,500 each year for gym memberships. Now, that might have some holes in it because you might have a gym membership, you just don't do anything with it.
Right. See, well, that's what I thought of with the other guy too. And $1,500, that sounds like a lot. You don't really need.
But it's a little something for the effort.
I think that's expensive, though. I think you could do a lot less. You don't have to give them $1,500. How about $500?
Well, I know, but when you put that 4 figures out there, I tell you what, might be more people who want to get healthy in a hurry. But there has to be some way of knowing that you're. It's like buying a piece of equipment and then using it as a coat rack.
Yes.
Not good. We'll take a break. We'll come right back. We got more for you here this morning on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK, where it is 6:18.
Here we come, walking down the street. We get the funniest looks from everyone we meet. Hey, hey, we're the monkeys, and people say we monkey around, but we're too busy singing to put anybody down. We go where
Yeah, it was on this date. How long ago was it?
Oh, man.
59 years ago.
Wow.
1966. Monkeys TV show premiered on NBC.
Hey, we're the monkeys.
Were you a fan?
Yeah. I was, I didn't watch it religiously. I mean, I knew a couple of the, Mickey and all those, Mickey
Yeah, Mickey
Dolan and
Dolans.
people like that. So, who was
Davy
the
Jones.
heartthrob? Yeah,
Yes.
Davy Jones. He was the heartthrob there. But,
Yep.
I watched a little bit of it. But did they, were they really a group, though? I mean,
No.
Yeah, that's the point.
Well, and see, so what does that kind of should give you some pause, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Was I duped, when I was
well,
watching?
I mean, the Beatles, the Stones, they were all very popular. So they're trying to come up with something that, will tap into that.
Sure.
So let's take some moderately talented people and throw them together, give them a name.
Right.
And it worked. It worked for a couple of seasons.
Yeah,
So-
and it was all right, I guess. I didn't.
And every once in a while, I would say like every 20 years, the ones that are still alive,
Right.
they go out on tour.
Right.
And there's this little nostalgia wave. But, I wondered about playing it because even though it's right in my wheelhouse, so to speak,
Right.
it's becoming a little bit anachronistic. It's like,
Yeah.
I think we've kind of passed the thing.
Kind of how I felt about it. I was just like,
I did remember, though, I have just one memory. I've told you about it before. I've worked in North Dakota once.
Yeah, right.
For a very short amount of time.
You were sentenced to North Dakota.
Pretty much,
Yeah.
yes. It felt like that.
Right.
And so the short time I was there, I remember driving on a road, and it was a bar in the middle of nowhere. And on the sign, like along the road there, it said, "Tonight, Peter Tork."
Yes.
And
Wow.
I thought, man, that's got to be sad.
Right. Yeah, that you got sentenced to an event in North Dakota.
Well, I didn't have to go.
No, I'm saying him.
Yes,
Peter
I mean
Tork.
he was this
Can you
bright,
imagine
shiny moment.
That's your gig.
Yes, like what was that? That was probably
Yeah.
less than 15 years later. You're playing a club in North Dakota.
Yeah, I mean, how bad is that?
That's
where that's where the work prospects have gone
Yeah.
to kind of near
Yeah.
granite level.
Yes.
By the way, I was looking, and I said this yesterday that we would have pictures out today of the shooter, and there are pictures out of a person of interest, dressed in black, wearing sunglasses, walking along. Apparently, what he did after he shot the other day, Charlie Kirk, he basically blended in with the crowd. They think he's a student, or he is a student age, put it that way. But I was looking here on X, and it said they are asking for the public's help identifying the person of interest in connection with the fatal shootings. As I said, there are cameras everywhere, and this camera caught this guy, and for some reason, he fits the description. They also found the murder weapon wrapped up out in the forest. They have, I guess, some footprints of what this person was wearing and so forth, and they're trying to track him down. There also are a number of interviews that said it was coordinated, that there was more than one person. Again, this is very early in the investigation, so these are things that people are saying. They are not engraved in stone. They are not the final investigation.
And I'm gonna give, after the first day of saying they had a person of interest and they said they had the guy, I'm not going to trust any of this stuff until
No, not until there's official charges laid out and all of that happens. But they're gathering information. I'm always amazed. I'd love to see how they go about doing all this because it's the FBI. I mean, they do seem to be able to eventually round all this up. There's an early, I'm going to be careful in this, an early bulletin about what was written on some of this stuff. And I'm just going to stay away from that for the moment because it's.
I saw it too. And I think you're doing the right thing
Yeah.
because there was no There is no link to anything. That was just that's what initially came out.
Could have been ramblings or whatever.
No, it doesn't even.
Yeah.
There's no. It's all unverified.
Yeah.
So you know what?
I'm just going to
maybe in the past you might have, but not now.
Yeah. And you know the other thing, and this is just me again, and I'm pretty consistent on this, so I'll do it again. This is someone who obviously has some problems, whatever it is, and shot Charlie Kirk. So many people are trying to make this into so many things and into other bigger stories. And I always hesitate on that kind of stuff because I think we do that a lot in America. You know, and I've said that about demonstrations and so forth, that when we start to generalize out, when we start to blame all of society for the actions of one deranged individual, and that goes in any kind of situation, I think we get into a very dangerous area. And I think we get into an area that really a lot of times is not true. I wouldn't disagree that there's a polarization in this country, and I wouldn't disagree that there's a lot of hate speech and all that kind of stuff. I wouldn't disagree with any of that. But to draw it into a larger story, which is what we try to do a lot of times, try to make this into a larger story, I think that's a dangerous area. I think it's an area that doesn't do us well as a society. And so I think we need to be careful of, demonizing anybody and I'm not talking about the shooter, by the way, but, raising people to a level that were not necessarily.
Well, I think the governor it was the governor of Utah.
Spencer Kirk, yeah.
Is that his name?
Yes. Actually, I don't know why I knew that, but I knew it.
I wasn't paying attention to the Chiron, so but I thought I heard him say that Russians and Chinese are trying to foment anger at this. So I wouldn't doubt that either.
Yeah, like I said, I think generalizing these things into other areas just be careful. Okay, let's stay focused on what it was that a person or persons killed Charlie Kirk. Okay, obviously they had trouble with whatever he was and whatever he thought and whatever he said, but that's where we're at right now, and we're trying to establish a case, and we're trying to figure out who this person is. I hope they catch the person alive. I hope they're able to get information from them. I hope we hear why they did it, and yet at the same time, it never, ever justifies killing someone or shooting someone or hurting someone. I don't care how much you disagree with them. I don't care how much you don't have to be there. Don't go. Okay. But, and that's the bottom line. But we're in a place in our country today where, for a person like this, in a situation like this, somebody goes to this degree, it's a sickness with them. It's not a sickness with all of us. The day it'll be a sickness with all of us is when somehow we all sit down and say, well, maybe. No, if you're stopping and saying maybe and you're not saying this is wrong, go do a little work on yourself, okay? If somehow you are trying to rationalize this out, go do a little work on yourself because it's not a good thing. We're going to take a break. We're going to come back, and we've got Ted Check coming up next. He'll talk a little bit about the media coverage this week. He's got a problem with some of the media coverage on this whole deal. But we'll talk a little bit about maybe generalizing and all those kind of things. Ted Check, of course, the author of Saving the Beast, and a recovering journalist. He'll be right here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK. We're at 6:30. Welcome back. The Gary Sutton Show, American Woman. The Guess Who? I remember them. They were
dipping into 1970 today, but only the rock
the
stuff.
music sounds flat.
Does it?
It sounds flat.
Maybe it's your ears.
Could be, I suppose, but
It might be mine.
I hear things very carefully when it comes to music. My sister, by the way, has perfect pitch. She's listening to the show this morning down, I think, in Fredericksburg, Virginia. And she has perfect pitch, and so if something is the slightest bit off.
It's possible. You know, back in the day, there was a difference between stereo and mono. That could be mono.
Whatever it is. It just sounded
possible.
flat this morning. Well, with us this morning is Ted Check. He's the author of Saving the Beast. A recovering reporter reflects on America's broken media and how to fix it. He's also in charge of information here in York County, and he is a former journalist, and he talks about a recovering reporter, and he joins us here this morning on the Gary Sutton Show. Good morning, Ted. How are you?
Hey, Gary, I'm doing okay. I mean, in the wake of Charlie Kirk's death, I could be doing better, but
Yes.
I'm here.
Well, you know, I'm of the thought, and I'm very sad about that. I'm sad, but I don't. And I was talking a moment ago. I don't take these things to the general level of everybody in the country is responsible, all a side is responsible, all this kind of thing. I look at various things and I say, okay, here is a person or persons, maybe, who are responsible for killing someone, and I hope we get to the bottom of it and find out who they were and why they would do such a despicable, horrible thing. And I'm very sad for him, dying. He was a guy who was expressing his opinion, getting involved with people in conversations around the country on very sensitive things, and also a father, a husband, father of two. So I'm sad about all those things, but I've got to tell you, I mean, I didn't know Charlie Kirk. I'm sad for his death. I'm sad for what happened, but my life moves on, and that's what has to happen. I mean, your life moves on, and you continue to do things, and it's just I worry sometimes that maybe I sound like I'm being cold in this. I'm not, but I don't connect it all together with everything, and I don't, I'm anxious to see what the investigation turns up, put it that way, in the long run. So I'm looking at it, I guess, as that's part of what I've got to do during the day, and I think it's horrible, and I don't know if it has any larger scope. So I'm left with a lot of questions, which means I'm not. I'm just kind of waiting. So that was a kind of a rambling there, but that's kind of where my head's at right now in that whole thing. Your thoughts?
Well, as a former member of the media, I'm looking at it. I mean, in several ways, but what I want to focus on, is the media, how the media covered this, and I want to couch this by saying that I'm not saying that all mainstream media covered it this way, but there were some that covered it in a very shameful and reprehensible way, and that I'd say the most egregious was MSNBC. Some of your audience might have heard that MSNBC analyst Matthew Dowd has been fired. He was on with the host, Katie Chor, and so he was fired, and MSNBC issued an apology. He said, well, first of all, the first thing he said was supporting, he speculated that a supporter may have been shooting their gun off. Like I said, that's total speculation. That's not what we should be doing, and that's not true journalism to say that, oh, well, maybe it was this. No, maybe.
Right.
If you don't know, then don't say it. But more importantly, he called Charlie Kirk divisive. He said he was pushing hate speech. He said you can't say awful words and not expect awful actions to take place. Yeah. So that got him fired. And
I saw his interview the other night. I was going up and down the channels, seeing what, how it was being covered on various channels and so forth, and what was being said. And I was actually trying to find more information on the whole thing when I got home from a baseball game the other night, and I happened to come across his interview, and I thought, wow, and the thing that struck me was, here's a guy who's taking his ideology, and that's the scope that he's viewing this through, the prism he's viewing this through. and saying, okay, somehow I have to find a way to kind of fit my ideology and yet make a comment and find some middle ground. And I'm thinking to myself, how about if we just report what happened, what we know about at this point, and that's that? How about if we just express some decency in terms of here's a person that was killed for doing nothing more than speaking their particular point of view, which he may not agree with, but it doesn't really matter. Nobody would want to be shot for having their point of view in a country that espouses liberty and freedom. So I know what you're talking about with his interview, and the fact that he had to take his time and search for a way to somehow express some kind of empathy for a guy in a moment when he was killed. That did step me back a little bit.
Yeah, and I was doing some searching this morning, and I found another example. Gonna have to call him out. CBS host Nate Burleson appeared to, I'll couch it this way, he appeared to blame Republicans. He had somebody on his show, and he said, "Is this a moment for your party to reflect on political violence? Is it a moment for us to think about the responsibility of our political leaders?" So we're going to blame Charlie for his own death. We're going to blame Republicans for Charlie's death. I don't know what else to say except for shameful and reprehensible. It's not journalism. It's not true journalism.
I will go back to this, and I agree with you, but I think it's time for all Americans to just kind of just step back a little bit if we apply anything from this moment, and to say, are we trying to get solutions here, or are we trying to just win? Are we trying to win and somebody else has to lose? I thought the idea of our country was to be able to have a conversation, to be able to debate, to be able to listen to somebody else's point of view, as unpopular it might be with us, and then also to be able to talk. And then at the end of the day, be able to say, okay, hey, I'm glad we had the conversation. I'm glad we had the debate. We are in a different time right now where it seems like we allow this to go way beyond any other priorities in our life for whatever reason. And I would love to know the answer to that. I don't know what it is yet. And it's that, why we disinvite people at Thanksgiving, why we have friends that, don't want to sit at their house because we voted a certain way or whatever. So I look at all this silliness and I think to myself, when did this become so important in our lives that it affects everything? And one of the problems that I have right now with people, if you have to sit down and look at a situation like this, and you can't say the shooter was wrong, this other guy was just expressing an opinion, what are you doing? If you have to sit down and right away construct something that includes politics, that includes all kinds of things that support your side, whoever you are, right, left, I'm not talking about any one side, I'm talking about everybody. If you have to sit down and look at this through a prism of, well, and I'm saying you in general, not you. I got it. Rhetorically. Then take a little stock of yourself. Step away and decide what kind of human being you are. Because everybody goes into right away, pro-Trump, anti-Trump, all that kind of crap. To me, that has nothing to do with this. That what this is a crime that was committed by somebody, a deranged person or persons, some really sick people that were twisted. There may be larger stories out of this, but we don't know what those stories are yet. So I'm not even a journalist, and I'm sitting back going, this morning I was going to talk about one story. I said, no, that wouldn't be right because it's just stuff. So you stay away from it until it's put into some kind of order for us and some kind of perspective. And this idea of people politicizing this right away makes me sick to my stomach. That part, I think, is wrong. And I see way too much of that with people. And people will try to stick just a little bit in there. Well, he deserved this kind of, evil talk gets evil reactions, and somehow rationalize that. It's okay. If you're doing that, get a life. Get a life. That would be my thought.
Well, we've become, it appears, so polarized as a nation. It's either you're for one thing or you're for another, and never the twain shall meet.
Right.
People retreat to their own echo chambers. Whatever you believe in, you go to those websites or those cable stations or those newspapers to get it repeated back to you, and then you feel better about yourself.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, that appears to be where we're at right now, and kind of to dovetail with what you said, I don't know what the solution is. I don't know how I remember a time, I'm 55 years old, I remember a time when it wasn't like that.
Right.
So I figure that I think we can get back to that. If we've been there before, where where you can be reasonable and listen to each other and understand each other, and you can agree to disagree and still respect each other. We had that before. We can get it again.
That's when we used to listen to each other. Okay, when we used to listen to each other. Now we're texting each other. We're doing all kinds of things on social media. I blame social media to a degree. I really do, and that's not just me being older. I really look at that and I think that is not a conversation. A conversation is when two people are standing across from each other, talking, listening, debating, raising the conversation to another level, listening to what the other person has to say, and really trying to know. You want to know how we cure some of this? We go to the places where people are speaking about these things that might be unpopular to us, that we may not agree with, and listen to what they have to say. And then, once you've heard that, then react in an appropriate way. Get into a conversation with people. Don't be afraid to talk to people. But the problem is, we don't know how to do that as well anymore. I'm not saying we don't do it at all in our country, but we don't do it as well. And where I think normal people can converse about anything. You go to politics, it's like the guy crawls into the car behind the steering wheel and grows fur and becomes a werewolf, because we politics has done that to us for whatever reason. And we don't do well politically talking with each other right now as a whole. Not saying that and no one does it, but as a whole, as a general sense right here, we don't do as well conversing with each other and listening with each other. We talk at each other. We spit out our little thing that we have from our side. The memo got sent to us, and we spit it out, and then we wait for them to say something so we can say something again, but we're not hearing a word they say. And that's the problem.
Yeah. Yeah, and you place some of the blame on social media, and I would place some of the blame on mainstream media. Because some people that listen to your show, might get sick of me coming on every week and saying, "Oh, the media did this, the media did that," and I'm just kind of pointing things out from my point of view that the media can do better, should do better. Well, so they play a role in this as well.
And if we all come back to the simplicity of report what happened. Report what happened. There were some stations I watched that did a really great job with that. I mean, it was a tragic, terrible incident. But I watched it, and there were some that said, "Here's what we know." Boom, 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 boom.
Right, and that's why I started this show off with saying, "Hey, look, I'm not blaming everybody."
No, I know, and you were fair about that. But the infotainment, the political tainment groups that went out and decided wherever they were that they were going to add their little, maybe. I have a tough time with that, and I think just the facts is all we need at this particular point. We don't need you adding in the political side and all this kind of stuff,
right? Because
it's just if you do that, it somehow says if this was okay for this, then maybe it's okay for something else, maybe. And I'm seeing right now a lot of senators and representatives in Congress are canceling events because they're worried to death about this kind of attitude. So they're extrapolating now that right to the political thing already. And, but an interesting segment this morning, Ted. Now, you brought up a very, very good thing here. I hope people read your book, Saving the Beast, A Recovery Report and Reflects on America's Broken Media and How to Fix It. It's right there on Amazon. You can pick it up. It's a really good book to read. I've read it myself, and you'll love it. But, Ted, always good to have you on a Friday morning. Never, ever feel bad about bringing up some of the issues because that's what we're allowed to do in America, last I checked, okay?
Right. Well, thank you, Gary. Thank you again for having me on. I really appreciate it.
Ted, appreciate it too. I hope people check out the book, Saving the Beast, A Recovery Report Reflects on America's Broken Media and How to Fix It. Ted, check here on a Friday morning on the Gary Sutton Show, where it is 6:48. from Detroit, Michigan. A little building there called Hitsville, USA, Mark.
This is Rare Earth. Rare Earth was on Motown?
No.
How is that possible?
This was my friend, by the way, for a while here for the Revs. When we first started doing the Revs game, 2007 to 2009, there were some kids named the Horlbecks who played a guy named Jesse Horlbeck, who was a home run hitter for Bridgeport. And so this guy starts sending us these emails from different bars around the country, and his name was Peter Horlbeck. And he'd say, hey, my kids play for that. I'm listening to a game tonight on the web, and da-da-da-da. Turns out Peter Horlbeck was Peter Rivera, who was the drum player and lead singer for Rare Earth. And one night, he shows up right here at the stadium at
No
Wellspan
kidding?
Park.
Oh, he was here.
He was here. He comes into our booth, and he said, I'm Peter Rivera. And we got to be friends, and we wrote back and forth. I had him on the show a few times. He had some groups. He used to send me recordings, these groups he was putting together. He lives out in Washington, in the state of Washington. And his kids both played for Bridgeport. So anytime they were in town here, he might try to come in here and see him. But he'd be writing from a bar in Miami. He's sitting listening to the game, or he's at a restaurant or whatever. One night he was at a concert, and he sent us a note before the concert. So that was him, Peter Horlbeck, whose name on stage was Peter Rivera.
I'm going to tell you, I always thought it would be hard to sing and play the drums at the same time.
Yeah.
How do you get, it's a physical workout, both things. Playing guitar, that's not a physical workout. Playing a bass, also not a physical workout. Drums, different thing. And he's one of those handful of guys like Don Henley, a couple others, where they're lead singers and drummers, and takes a special voice and a special ability to be able to do that.
Oh, incredible. And he's very, very talented, and then played with a lot of all-star groups later on.
Let's talk about the real important story.
And that is?
Well, this weekend, it's coming to an end.
What is that? Our show?
No, but it is going to be over.
Oh,
after all the episodes, there was at least two movies maybe? This is going to be the last one. It's all going to be over after this.
Downton Abbey, the grand finale, brings the Crawley family back to the big screen for one last chapter. Set in the 1930s, the story follows the family and their loyal staff as they navigate a changing world and face the future of the estate.
My God, what a melody.
He will be a sensation.
The beloved cast returns: Hugh Bonneville, Elizabeth McGovern, Michelle Dockery, Laura Carmichael, Alan Leach, Jim Carter, Phyllis Logan, and of course Maggie Smith as the iconic Dowager Countess, Michelle Polino, Fox News.
You know, I never would watch that for the longest time, and finally I watched it and I got hooked. And I watched the whole thing through. I watched the movie, and now this is like the end. And but it was very enjoyable.
Wait a second. She said...
Very enjoyable.
She said Maggie Smith.
Who died. Yeah. Well, it tells you that maybe they... maybe she liked it so much she came back. I don't know. No, she... maybe this was filmed earlier. I'm thinking. Yeah. AI. Okay. Didn't Maggie just die like the last year or two?
It was a year ago.
Yeah, a year ago. So they may have had some tape that was there before they got to that point. By the way, as far as the Charlie Kirk murder, the manhunt for the suspected gunman who fatally shot Charlie Kirk, it took a new turn yesterday, as we thought it might. Authorities released, and didn't we tell you this would happen, new footage and enhanced still images of the suspected shooter who has not been identified. The video released Thursday night showed a person running across a rooftop of the building from which the fatal round was fired before climbing down and dropping to the ground. That person left palm impressions and some smudges. And again, all these things will be used by law enforcement in figuring out what happened here in the long run. But footprints, they know he was wearing Converse. I saw somebody had identified his T-shirt. It said "Land of the Free, Home of the Brave." Yes, so he has all kinds of little things, and they're putting all these pieces together, this mosaic together, to get a whole picture of who this person was in the long run. So that story out there this morning, and we knew that. And then there's a camera thing of a guy walking up a staircase
Or down,
or down a staircase. Again, they want information on this person of interest. You know, when you become a person of interest, you got some problems for the most part. Although there have been two in this case who were arrested, who were let go because they were not connected in any way. And so, trying to figure out who this is going to require a lot of information over the next several days. And it's going to be interesting to see how this investigation goes. I think they will eventually catch this guy. They found his rifle yesterday, wrapped in a blanket in the woods. They've been putting things together. And so all this stuff will eventually, I think, lead to this person being caught.
Well, did you see Thursday Night Football?
I did not.
Well,
the Packers have moved to 2-0 on the season. The Green Bay defense held the Commanders in check, beating Washington 27-18 on Thursday Night Football.
From the 8, to the outside, wide open touchdown, Tucker Kraft.
That was courtesy of Amazon Prime Video as tight end Tucker Kraft scored in the fourth quarter to make it a 2-possession game. Jaden Daniels was never able to get the Commanders' offense humming, with Washington being outgained 404 yards to 230, and Daniels finishing the night 24 of 42 for 200 yards and 2 touchdowns. For the Packers, quarterback Jordan Love threw for 292 yards and 2 scores, and Green Bay now moves on to face the Browns in Week 3. Joe Morgan, Fox News.
And coming up next this morning at 7:05, Kevin Smith, Kindness Worldwide, joins us on a Good Friday here on the Gary Sutton Show. We'll take a look at the events this past week, particularly the Charlie Kirk murder, and try to add the lens of kindness to that in the long run. Then Dr. Gracia ATN will be with us at 7:35 to talk about your mental wellness and depression and how we deal with all those kind of things when he comes in here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK. But first, we take a break for news at the top of the hour. WOYK news time is 7 o'clock.
York's only local show is back on its new home on York's only local station.
Guess who's back? Back again.
This is the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK.
I'm back.
Now, broadcasting live from WOYK's downtown York studios inside Wellspan Park, here's Gary Sutton.
And welcome back to the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK. It is a Friday morning. I can't believe it's here already. You know, although it's gotten very long here late in the week for obvious reasons. But it is Friday right now.
That's because it's not a 3-day week like it was last week. You had 2 3-day weekends.
That's right.
In a row.
And I deserved them. Anyway, it is September the 12th, 2025, as I have been excoriated by my partner. I could probably list that under, am I a protected group? That would be like elder abuse, right? I think that's what it is. But anyway, it's great to be with you here on the Gary Sutton Show at hour number 2. All brought to you by Barley Snyder Attorneys at Law. You can find them at barley.com. 29 different areas they can help you in as far as business law and as far as individuals, too, and various businesses. And all you got to do is check them out at barley.com. Here in York, they're located at 100 East Market Street. They are open 9 to 5 weekdays, and you can give them a call at 717-846-8888. They feature a wide variety of practice areas, 29, as I mentioned, industry groups, and service teams that are all geared toward just one thing: helping you achieve your business goals. Barley Snyder, our presenting sponsor here this morning. And in this hour, the 7 o'clock hour, we are so proud to be connected with Kindness Worldwide, where every Friday is a Good Friday. And that is no exception today. This is a Good Friday. And we always enjoy this hour because, you know, we're thinking about kindness. We're thinking about the goodness. And in a week where the events happened with Charlie Kirk the other day, and a week where we remember the events of 9/11 yesterday, it's probably good to be looking at things through the lens of kindness, and nobody better to help us with that this morning than Kevin Smith, who is the Chief Kindness Chaser and the originator of kindnessworldwide.org, and he's here this morning with us on the Gary Sutton Show. Good morning, my friend. How are you?
Oh, I'm good, Gary. It's good to see you this morning on a Good Friday morning, and a beautiful Good Friday, by the way.
You and I were just talking off the air, and you gave me a term that I have never heard, and I think it's one you originated, and epidemic empathy erosion. You know, we've watched a murder this week. And obviously we're trying to find out who did that and what the reasons were, and there's a lot of journalistic stuff to be done on that yet, and investigation. But we also recognized yesterday the 24th anniversary of the most horrific thing that happened in our country. We watched that unfold before our eyes 24 years ago with the events of 9/11. But I've been trying to explain some things in terms of how we jump to conclusions on things sometimes and so forth, and how to put it all in perspective. But this epidemic of empathy erosion seems to kind of hit something here with me. Talk a little bit about that and flesh that out for us this morning, would you?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. Well, we can look at things in isolation, or we can address them from the standpoint is it part of something bigger or a disturbing trend?
Yeah.
And one of my good friends and a Kindness Worldwide ambassador is Dr. Jen Fraser. She's one of the leading scientists, understands the neuroscience of kindness, and it explains a lot. She has a term that she uses called empathy erosion.
Yeah.
And she defines it, the absence of any empathy, zero empathy is evil.
Right.
And if you look at societal trends, going back, I would argue, even decades, I think that explains a lot where we are losing connection, we are losing empathy, we are being desensitized to things that just aren't normal. For example, when I grew up, rarely would you ever hear of a mass shooting. You certainly did not hear of any school shootings.
Right.
And here we are. It seems like it happens so frequently that people are starting to get desensitized to it like it's normal. It's not even like it's on the news, oh, another school shooting again. And it can never be normal. It can never be accepted as normal. We can never be desensitized to it, but we are. But as Jen has described, she says you can, through neuroplasticity, you can reverse the trend. And she brought this to my attention, which blew me away because, this is all happening by accident. It's happening organically. She said, Kevin, this movement of kindness is exactly what's necessary because you can retrain the brain in almost every instance back towards the light, so to speak. you can restore empathy, and you do it through kindness, mindful kindness. So what we need is we got to reverse this epidemic of empathy erosion, and we need now more than ever what I would refer to as a kindemic.
And you said mindful kindness, and I'm interested in that because we do a lot of things. We hold the door for somebody. I guess that's mindful, but we do other things. Excuse me, pardon me. I butted in front of you. Please forgive me. I'm going to step back. There's mindful kindness there, but there are other things we do that we just do. But I'm looking right now where we allow outside things to creep in to maybe erode that kindness, to maybe erode that kind of empathy. And a lot of that has to do, you heard us talking about politics earlier. I think politics is part of that. I think this idea of social media, which I think is totally not social a lot of times. Yeah, I think it does have a use. I think there are good uses for it. I think the idea of lack of person-to-person kinds of interaction. We had Jen on the one time. She is so wise about a lot of these things. What does she say the outside things are? They're really eroding a lot of the emotions that we have right now and eroding a lot of the empathy that we have as human beings.
I think there's a lot of contributing factors. I think social media, it certainly makes it easy to connect with people. That doesn't mean that we're connecting. People are very quick to express their opinions in a way they probably would never do in person. I think our political discourse and rhetoric is we're lacking civility, really on both sides of the aisle in many cases. We can point the finger in a lot of ways. I think our media is often, focused maybe more on narrative than truth. There's a lot of finger pointing, but at the end of the day, I keep going back to the fact that kindness is a choice. And we can point the finger at others all day long. It solves nothing. We can't control the actions of others. We can only control our own actions and behaviors. And if we each just individually, as individual citizens, choose to be kind, and it is a choice, and put the 8 characteristics of kindness into action and view everything through that lens. Gratitude, patience, forgiveness, empathy, and compassion, respect, joy, generosity, and service, all are within our control. And if we just try to do our part within our own circle of influence, and instead of dwelling on our circle of concern, which we can't control, if we lead by our own example and try to be mindful, make kindness top of mind. It's a habit, and you can practice it every day and be aware of it. I'm much more fully aware of kindness. I'm not perfect. I have, at times I got to say, Kevin, that wasn't very patient. We all have room for improvement. But we all have to do better. And I think we got to do better across the board, from those in government office or those in the media to individual citizens. We all have a role to play to make our world a better place.
Yeah, from the president on down.
Absolutely.
Every single person needs to, instead of saying, well, all these people over here are at fault for something or whatever, we need to take some self-accountability there. And I think that goes all the way across the board. It goes all the way across political divides. It goes across ideological divides, philosophical divides. And it's a simple matter of saying, I have a choice to be kind in this moment or not. I have a choice to be empathetic in this moment or not. You do have, and that idea of mindful kindness, the idea of mindful kindness leads to so many other things. That it's amazing to me that Mark and I and others were talking yesterday about the events of 9/11. We saw evil right there in front of us with the crashing of the planes and using them as weapons. No question about that. But then we saw heroism. We saw people running up steps when others were coming down. We saw people rescuing other people when they could have just worried about their own skin, and they rescued other people and got them out of the towers. We saw a group of people take down a plane so that it wouldn't be used as a missile elsewhere. We saw all of that. And so, we know that kindness can be used in the most drastic moments, but it almost has to be ingrained. It almost has to be part of who we are. And so it does give us hope to think and see, even on that worst day, that there were people who knew how to practice kindness, even maybe unmindfully in that moment. Your thoughts on yesterday and how kindness kind of applied to that? I think there's a good story there, as well as all the horrible things that happened.
Well, obviously I'm always a proponent about seeing the good. And the irony is, in times of tragedy, we often see us at our best. We see our country at our best. We see our fellow citizens at our best. And And I think that's an instinct. When at times of tragedy, or when we need a fellow man, we need each other. We rise to the occasion. That's instinctual. I think that means that I think everyone, I believe, is inherently good somewhere, right? And sometimes we get overshadowed by darkness.
Right.
But in normal times, it seems like then 9/12 on the day, it seems like afterwards we get back and we erode back to our old habits and behaviors, and then we get divisive again. It's almost like we forget what unites us.
9/11, in other words, shouldn't be just a special day. I mean, obviously there were special things happened on that, and we commemorate those. But 9/12 should be the same as 9/11. 9/13 should be the same as 9/12. 12/13 should be the same as 9/11. So you get into this idea that this should be the way of life every day. And for a lot of people, I think it is. But I'm reminded, we look at yesterday, we think we commemorate the drastic moments in our society. And years ago, I developed a little philosophy about sports after coaching for about 45 years. And this is what I learned, that in the most drastic moment of the game, the ball will find the hands of the least skilled person, and it's what the character of that person is that will decide the outcome for your team. Character wins championships, talent wins games. Character wins championships, talent wins games. So now take kindness and insert that into the character aspect because it's part of that. And all of a sudden you start to say, well, if I practice that every day in every part of I play in the world, a son, a daughter, an employee, a father, a mother, a churchgoer, a student. If you put that into every single part of what you do every day, yeah, you're still going to have losses every now and then. Yeah, you're going to have moments where you're human, but you come back and make that a habit. Guess what? There's where kindness really starts to fit when the most drastic moments come, and you're right there ready to step up and have the very best parts of yourself out there instead of the very worst. Final thoughts.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, character matters. I mean, there are many talented teams who never win championships. I'm going to argue it's because of a lack of character or clubhouse chemistry, whatever it may be. So real leaders rise to the occasion. And you just touched on something else as well. We often put people in labels, put them in camps and tribes. Red states, blue states, Republican, Democrat, red, white, black, blue, whatever it may be.
Right.
How about we call someone, refer to others as a son, daughter, brother, sister, parent, children of God, which I think everyone is.
Right.
And if we look at people through that lens, through a kindness lens, maybe we'll see each other differently, see kindness in a different way, because I think there's too much, we talk about DEI and diversity, and which is important, but how about diversity of thought and opinion and being respectful of others' differences as well?
Right.
Because that's an important aspect that gets overlooked. And there's some speculation, obviously, rightfully so, perhaps, but we got to wait for the facts to come out on the Kirk shooting. But diversity of thought, if this was politically motivated, that's something that we need to be more cognizant of as well and be respectful of others' differences.
Yeah, cite the areas of weakness that we have in our society. Let's do something about it. And what we can do about it is just simply start to be the very best of ourselves each time and not the very worst. And realizing full well, we're going to have some bad days. Okay, we're going to have some bad days
and be forgiving when we have our bad days. We can forgive ourselves and we can forgive others.
Exactly right. Kevin Smith this morning, Kindness Worldwide. Always good talking to you, my friend. And we'll look forward to catching up with you on Monday, okay?
Looking forward to it, Gary. Have a wonderful weekend.
And it's always a Good Friday here on the Gary Sutton Show. And thank you so much for being a sponsor of this hour. A Good Friday right here on WOYK. Kevin Smith, who is all over the world right now preaching the word of kindness. And it's so important, especially in these times, and especially this week, as we look at some of the events that have happened this week and commemorate some of those that happened years ago. We'll take a break. We'll come right back here with more on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK.
Fox Sports Update.
From the 8 to the outside. Wide open touchdown. Tucker Kraft.
In Green Bay, Wisconsin on Amazon Prime Video Thursday. The Packers got 2 touchdown passes from Jordan Love and beat the Commanders 27-18. Green Bay is 2-0 for the first time since the 2020 season. Love connected with tight end Tucker Kraft 6 times for 124 yards. He also found Romeo Doubs for a 5-yard touchdown. The Packers quarterback threw for 290 yards, no interceptions. Josh Jacobs ran for a 2-yard touchdown for Green Bay, which dropped the Commanders to 1-1. Washington had a painful night. The Commanders lost running back Austin Eckler to an Achilles injury in the fourth quarter. And also defensive end Dietrich Wise went down, carted off the field with a quadriceps injury. Washington quarterback Jaden Daniels finished the night 24 of 42 for 200 yards with touchdown passes to Zach Ertz and Deebo Samuel.
Well, with Judge leading off with a home run in the first inning, he's leading off the third. He's 1 away from Joe DiMaggio, which would move him to a tie with Joe D for 4th place on the Yankees all-time list. High drive, left center field, Green back, track, wall, see ya! Another home run for Judge. He is tied Joe DiMaggio for 4th place on the all-time home run list, and also picks up his 100th Ribby of the year.
On the YES Network, Aaron Judge's 2 home runs Thursday with President Trump in attendance on 9/11 helped the Yankees beat the Tigers 9-3. 361 career home runs for Judge, who needs 132 more to move up the Yankees all-time list and catch Lou Gehrig. New York moved a half game ahead of Boston in the standings, set to visit the Red Sox tonight at Fenway Park. You can download the Fox Sports Podcast on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you download your favorite podcasts. I'm Jared Max.
Get more on the Fox Sports app and foxsports.com.
And welcome back to the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK here on a Friday morning. It's the 12th of September, 2025. I was looking this morning at a thing about the best states to live in here in the country. And what do you think the very worst state was, Mark? And what do you think the very best state was? And where do you think Pennsylvania might have fallen in on this?
Well, we did the happiest state.
Is the happiest state? Yeah.
Is that what this is? No.
No, this is the best state to live in.
The best state.
Yeah.
How do they define that?
Well, they talk about a number of things like the weather and the costs that it takes to live in the state and all that kind of thing. Healthcare, things like that.
I'm going to go with the worst state, the most unhappiest state was West Virginia. So let's go with the bottom there.
Yeah, it wouldn't be West Virginia. Actually, they have Alaska, which to me, that's exactly where I would go. I would go to Alaska because I wouldn't want to live in Alaska for love nor money.
I don't know. If you ever watch, what is it, Life Below Zero?
Yeah.
Not something I would do, but I do appreciate how what a what do they call it?
Going off the grid?
Yes. I mean, they have all these skills, but it's got to be lonely.
Yeah, see, that's my point. I mean, if you want people, Alaska ain't the place you go.
One guy's got his whole family, even extended family, but then there's the woman. She lives by herself, and then the guy. There was a couple, but I guess the lady left him. So
I mean, you don't have anybody to go to Applebee's with, as they said.
Yeah, I mean, the winters are going to think about how long the winter is really going to be.
Thank you.
I'm just saying
you just don't need that. And how many great Alaskan golf courses have you ever heard of? That's my.
You know what? Do they have golf up there?
I guess I'm saying. Do. That's my measuring stick. They probably do, but you don't hear about. Hey, they're going to be playing this year's stop
PGA. Yes.
Yeah, the U.S. Open this year will be held in Alaska. No, sorry, it's not going to happen.
No. Okay.
So the number one.
Yeah. What's the
state
best?
in happiness? Now this one might.
California, Florida.
The normal culprits you would think
Texas,
of. None of that.
I don't know. None of them.
None of them. Who would you think it would be?
Wow, and taking the other ones off. Massachusetts, my home state.
Well, Massachusetts is higher than most. But it's not Massachusetts.
Oh.
It is Tennessee.
Really?
Tennessee.
Probably fewer leaves to rake
I
there.
guess there's a whole lot of reasons. But then I looked at where's Pennsylvania, and here again
Should be close.
We're always in the middle somewhere, moving toward the backside. We're 34. And here's the
I don't
explanation.
like how you put that.
I know.
Towards the
backside. We always do. I mean, we're always like in the 30s. It's like it's safe. And we're never number one. And we're never number 50. It's
well, in the happiest states, we were number 18.
There you go. Well,
at
so
least
we
in
did
the
okay.
top five.
This is 34. So here we are. Here's their explanation. Pennsylvania isn't the northernmost state in the country, but it's far enough north that parts of the state do deal with cold weather.
Mm-hmm.
It definitely has some draws, including some of the lowest costs of living in cities like Philadelphia compared to other major cities on the East Coast, which is maybe one of the reasons that we have a lot of people that come here to retire. We are one of the retirement capitals.
Big time.
So
Lancaster.
The other one was, we mentioned about Texas, by the way, was number 5. Alabama was 4, if you could imagine that. But that's because of the influx of people into the state right now, especially in the Gulf Coast. I know some people have moved down to Alabama on the Gulf Coast. Rhode Island, your home state, was 3.
That
explains a lot about you. No, it said Rhode Island is it. Yeah.
The cost of living there is crazy.
Well, they said Rhode Island because, if I can get this thing to stop for a moment, let's see here. Rhode Island because...
Yes. The food.
Yeah, well, the people that live there. So because Mark McKenzie lived here.
For a while.
Yeah. So they and of course, then my... let's see.
There's the computer messing up.
Computer days of our lives. Oh, Rhode Island is seeing a pretty frequent influx of new people moving into the state, especially when it comes to older demographics looking for a place to retire.
Yes.
While tiny, the state does offer quite a bit. Go Local Prov says the state has a high inbound rate at 65% of moves being inbound.
Yeah, good luck in finding a place to live.
Yeah, okay. So, however,
it
is also not uncommon for Rhode Islanders to pick up and move to neighboring states like Massachusetts, Connecticut,
that
New York,
I believe.
Some look for warmer states like Florida, but the state sees some new residents look for a break for warmer climates too.
That is fascinating.
Idaho, number 2. Yeah.
I don't want to go to Idaho.
I don't either. I don't have no need for that. Tennessee, if you want somewhere to live that offers
That's
a lot
not
of
too bad.
Beautiful rural land.
Nashville.
Bustling musical metropolis,
Memphis.
Nashville. Tennessee's a great place. There are only a few of the reasons that moving to the state has become more popular.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's also a good state for taxes, by the way. Lots to do outdoors. Affordable
Barbecue.
housing. Low cost of living makes Tennessee appealing. A lot of the houses on wheels. So no, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. That being said, you might see the price inflate if you're going to try to live right inside of Nashville. I'm not. Yeah, the problem, you laugh because there may be some element of truth to that. I don't know. Anyway, there you go. So when we come back, Dr. Gracia ATN joins us. We talk about wellness. Talk about a week where our mental look at things and our spiritual look at things may have been stretched. And we're looking for a little bit of help on how to deal with that. Dr. Grassi ATN has some of that when he joins us next here on the Gary Sutton Show at 7:35. But first, news at 7:30 here on WOYK. anyone of a certain age, you knew this song every Sunday.
This is Blazing Saddles without the parts.
Or Frankie Lane. Bonanza. Remember Bonanza? Pernell Roberts, Forrest Whitaker.
Dan Blocker.
And, Michael Landon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was
65 years ago on this date, 1959, Bonanza premiered on NBC.
Yeah, and was Hop Sing the guy that was the cook?
Yes.
Yes. Remember him. He was, yeah. Now, today, you'd get into all kinds of things with profiling and everything else.
Yes.
But at that time, it was an interesting series. Dan Blocker in that.
I remember when he died.
Yes.
I think it was like a year or two before it went off the air. But Lorne Greene, he had that deep voice. So
Right.
he was like a singer and a narrator. So he had a life after that. Parnell Roberts,
He had a little bit of that. He did. He had a nice voice, and I know he did a couple of documentaries because there was someone coming, Pernell Roberts, and I went, Bonanza. Yeah,
Michael Landon, though, was the big.
He was the guy that made it.
Yeah, Little House on the Prairie. And
his daughter, by the way, was on Yellowstone. Right, kind of a foul mouthed girl.
She was the one. Oh, what was her name on that? She was the one who was always chewing like tobacco.
Yeah.
Spitting and
and
talking like nobody can understand what she was saying.
But she didn't kill anybody.
That's true.
One of the few people in Yellowstone that didn't kill anybody.
Amen.
So there you go. But she was a cowboy, cowgirl, if you will. And but a lot of people said Michael Landon's daughter. Yeah, that was it. Anyway, great to have you here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK, and we welcome back this week Dr. Gracia Etienne. He is with York TMS Clinic, located at 1806 North George Street, right here in York. And wanted to talk about this week, working on people with emotions and spiritualistic stuff. And, with what happened this week with the shooting we saw on Wednesday, and then what happened on Thursday with looking back on the events of 9/11. I thought it might be good this morning to talk to Dr. Etienne. He's with us here on WOYK. Good morning, Dr. Etienne. How are you?
Good morning, my friend. Good morning, Gary. I'm doing well.
Well, it's good to talk to you. It's been kind of an emotional week, obviously. People saw this shooting happen the other day, and we're trying to get to the bottom of that. A person shot down while speaking before a group that we yesterday commemorating the 25th or 24th anniversary of what happened on 9/11. And so for people who are prone to maybe having depression or something like that, these are trying times. For anybody, it's a trying time. But for people who are prone toward depression, it can be a very trying time. Talk about that a little bit, if you would.
Well, I mean, if events like that are definitely classified as stressors, and they can trigger anyone to go into depression if you are prone, and not just depression, any mental issues, if you are prone to that.
Sure.
Gary, we are doing a great job in this world with technology and so on and so forth, but we are not really progressing well with morality and the things that really, in my view, matter more.
You said something that was interesting there, Dr. Etienne. You said about stressors. And all of us have stressors in our daily life. We got to pay a bill and we're up against it. We bang our car up, or we, are in a rush to get somewhere and then somewhere else and then somewhere else. So there's the stressors. And for the normal person, they can normally process that. Talk about someone who is prone toward depression and how that affects them, and maybe a little bit about the difference between someone who is depressed and someone who's just being stressed, because there are two different ways of looking at that, aren't there?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, stresses will occur. There's no doubt. I mean, it's not even may, or it will. The problem is the ability to manage through those stresses, the ability to actually process those stressors appropriately, to the point where they don't become overwhelming, to the point where they don't become the focus issue. You probably have heard people say, "Oh, you can stress about it all day, and that it wouldn't help." Well, some of us will take that stress to the extreme, And that's when you start having physiological and emotional issues with it, because as a little bit of stress can be some motivators also, can motivate you to move forward that we needed. But when you focus on that alone, when you become so obsessed by that, when you are not processing it well, that's where the pathology comes in place.
Now, do these kind of events like the shooting of Charlie Kirk this week or the events of 9/11, looking back on that, do people who have depression, clinical depression, will they process that in a negative way more than maybe someone who is just, doesn't have that problem? Or is it just a matter of, it is what it is? What are your thoughts on that?
Yes. Again, it comes down to how you view the world.
Okay.
And someone who is in a depressed state would most likely view the world as in a negative cloud, if I can use that term. So basically, when an event like that occurs, you're like, okay, one negative way to process it is like, okay, this, life is worth nothing. Because look at this gentleman who was, doing his own thing and was more or less on top of his game as for what his mission and his goal in life was, and suddenly he dropped. So what's the purpose? That is a dark place to go down, a dark way to look at things. To answer your question, people can. Especially patients with depression can start getting into that negative misinterpretation aspect of stressors.
We're talking with Dr. Gracia Etienne, who's the head of York TMS Clinic, right here at 1806 North George Street in York. Dr. Etienne, 280 million people plus in this world have depression. And as we move away from the current events part and move into a lot of people that have depression don't understand it. They say, well, I'm having a perfectly good day, and all of a sudden, boom. For no reason at all, they get into a certain place. It is like a disease, I guess you would say. It does need help. It does need respect. It does need empathy. It's not something wrong with you in terms of how you're living, but it's rather something many times is built in. And I think that's the first thing people have to understand when it comes to depression, right? That it is something that needs help. A lot of people go to psychiatrists, psychologists. They use medicine for this, and it works for a lot of people. And then for some people, it does not. And that's where you come in with your business of NeuroStar treatment. Talk a little bit about all that.
Yes, Gary, the first point that you covered, we've made so much progress in technology and science and so forth. It's time for us, honestly, to drop that stigma about depression. I mean, emotional life is, the emotional aspect of your life is actually real. So people need to stop that at this point. I think we need to work as hard as possible to make people understand all the stigma that we have about depression and so on. That's totally wrong. People don't have any problems with you if you have diabetes. They look at you as a normal person who actually has an illness. If you have hypertension, you're a normal person who has an illness. So there's no reason why if someone has depression, all of a sudden you think that there's something wrong with them.
Right.
They are not normal. They are normal. They have an illness, and that's it. And to answer the second part, to go into the second part of your questions, unfortunately, sometimes you can manage your illness, whether it's hypertension, diabetes, or otherwise. You can manage it with home medicine or lifestyle changes. But other times you have to try medicine. And once you go to medicine, not all the time that the medicines will work. And we know that. So sometimes you have to try one and try a second one and third one, and eventually in the case of depression, when medicines do not do the trick for us, when medicines are not working, we do have something that is non-invasive, very well tolerated by patients, that has a good track record and has been FDA approved and covered by insurance company that can help you. It's called TMS, transcranial magnetic stimulation. Essentially, It is using very, 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 very low magnetic pulses to repetitively stimulate the brain cells and awaken them, and we creating connections between the cells. And the clinical results are out there to speak for themselves. 83% of patients are seeing great improvement to the point where they may not take anything at all for their depression, or they may go from 4 medicine to 1, or they may go for a long period of time without anything. And 63% of patients will go completely in remission, which means that they're cured.
Yeah. And, the first time you explained it to me, I said, what does that mean? You take these transcranial magnetic stimulation, and you said you basically are waking up those areas that have been asleep a little bit because for whatever reason, and the depressed brain cell, it's not really working the way it's supposed to. When you stimulate those with the transcranial magnetic stimulation, all of a sudden you wake them up, and now you're starting to react the way you might normally do so, in your daily life, and that's such an important part, right?
That is correct. I mean, regardless of the etiology of depression, that's one thing that we see as a common pathway, that the neurons, the cells in the brain, they literally are inactivated. And PET scan, for example, is a study that when you do it, it measures blood flow, oxygen consumption, and glucose metabolism. So basically activities in an area of a tissue or an organ. So when you get a PET scan of the patients with depression, you can clearly see that the PET scan is dark. There's no activities going on. Versus someone who's not in a depressive state, or who has been treated by TMS, you can clearly see the activities going all over the place. So we know for sure that the stimulation recreated the connections, and after awakening the cells, after reactivating the cells. But we also do repetitive for a period of time in order to strengthen those connections. That way we can promise longevity. That way we can promise long results to those patients.
I would suggest to you, ladies and gentlemen, that you get to the York TMS Clinic today. 1806 North George Street. If you know somebody who has depression, who's tried a lot of things and maybe it hasn't totally worked for them, this is an area that may be new to York, but it's not new to science. It's not new to medicine. At York TMS Clinic, they are right there at 1806 North George Street in York. Dr. Etienne and his staff are ready to help you right now, and they're really, really good at it. 717-699-7361. That's 717-699-7361. If you can get help and it's there, tap on it. Find out about it. Go in there. Get your questions answered. Dr. Etienne is always happy to give you a hug, a smile, and a great explanation and information that you can take and read about NeuroStar and all the good things that it has to offer to you. 717-699-7361 is the number. Dr. Etienne, so appreciate all of what you're doing right there. Keep up the good work, and we're going to keep on trying to help people all out there who have depression right now and find them a good way of getting cured, right?
Thank you so much, Gary. We're going to keep at it. We're going to keep pushing. We're going to keep creating the awareness about mental health.
And that's an important thing. Dr. Etienne, thank you again. And until next week, have a great time. We appreciate it.
Thank you, my friend.
Thank you. Gracia Etienne, Dr. Gracia Etienne. A lot of you knew him as orthopedic surgeon for a long time. He has now gotten into the mental area. And
did he have a name? Like, did they call him Dr. Knees?
No, just Dr. Gracia Etienne. Dr. Etienne. And you said Dr. Etienne and your knees around York. He was the best, in my opinion, of doing work on knees. He did both mine. Mm-hmm. And I walked the golf course today and walk everywhere because of what he did. But I'm so impressed now with what he's doing with the mental area of and well-being with depression, because I think he's onto something here. It's something to add. Everyone has different ways of getting to a point where they can tolerate or even feel good or get back to normalcy in life. And he's found a new way that he's researched and is pushing right now. And again, people just stop by and get information on that at 1806 North George Street right here in York and give us a call.
We'll stay with health.
Yeah.
Because have you ever heard of even the possibility of a vaccine that could provide protection from cancer?
No.
Yeah, this is a first for me, too. We'll get into that next.
We're looking forward to that here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK. It's 98.9 FM, 1350 AM. WOYK, back with more right after this. Welcome back. The Gary Sutton Show on WOYK on a Friday morning. We're at 7:53. Mark McKenzie here with you, and I know you got some medical news for us as well, Mark.
Let's delve into that. You were talking about that with Dr. Etienne, and I thought, you know what? Let's check this out. Let's talk about this story I saw. I want to find out more about it as well. It was about colorectal cancer.
Yes.
A vaccine to prevent colorectal cancer?
Saying it's safe and ready, Russian government officials are announcing what they say is an ambitious new immunization that could offer hope to those with colorectal cancer. In early clinical trials, results suggest that Enteromix may be nearly 100% effective. It reportedly reduces tumors and slows their progression without the harsh effects of chemotherapy and radiation. Some medical experts, however, are cautioning that while the vaccine does offer hope, more research on the vaccine is necessary before it's considered a breakthrough. Sue Guzman, Fox News.
Call me cautionary.
Yeah,
but when they say
time.
Russian government and Putin injecting anything into me,
100% effective?
Yeah, that sounds like Russia, doesn't it? That's like the 100% election for
Yes,
Putin. You know,
yes.
I don't know. I'm just call me a little bit cautious, but there you go.
Yeah.
By the way, some news you might have missed this morning, Mark, and there's some out there. Today is National Video Games Day. We talked about that. Not to be confused with that about other hardcore gamers, something they experience only once a year, which is a shower.
Stop.
That's what happens. Yeah. Let's see. What else do we have here? The maker of weight loss drug Wegovy will lay off about 9,000 people.
What?
Now, the drug works so well that it even makes your payroll thinner. So that's what's happening there. We were talking about the happiest states the other day. The happiest state in America is A, Hawaii, B, Colorado, C, B, drunk. That's I think they got something wrong here on the state of being drunk. Not good. Oh. Let's see. A Florida man has a mailbox shaped like a gun. Because that's what you want to give postal workers access to, right?
Yeah, really.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, let's go postal.
No problem there. Let's see what else we have. 3 servings of French fries a week raises the risk of diabetes by 20%.
Wow.
So this week I raised my risk of diabetes 60%. So that and French fries, a few extra nice, but I'm sorry. I'm just reading here.
Yes.
Let's see what else we have. Police reunited an escaped pigeon with its owner in Texas. The pigeon thought what the cops did was really cuckoo. No, I wrote that wrong. The pigeon thought what the cops really did was cool.
That's terrible.
Without the L. Yeah.
That's terrible.
Let's see. Sydney Sweeney becomes a 28-year-old today. Today, yeah, absolutely today. And or as Leonardo DiCaprio would call her, a cougar.
Over the hill.
Yeah, she's not that old. Let's see what else we have. Bad Bunny won't tour in the United States.
Oh, no.
And there's a good reason, because he fears A, ICE, B, crime, or C, Elmer Fudd. Yeah. Bad Bunny. Anyway, let's see what else we have here. Debbie Gibson and Charlie Sheen both released books. One is a one-hit wonder. The other is a wonder he's still alive. Yeah,
that's for sure.
Yeah, Mark Hamill, Luke Skywalker, right? Mark Hamill says he's embarrassed that America voted for Donald Trump twice. And remember, he was caught on camera kissing his sister. So, yeah, that was, yeah.
Well, to be fair, he didn't know she was his sister at the time.
She had those Danishes wrapped on the side of her head, and she couldn't hear him right, and there it was.
I'm just saying.
Let's see what else we have. The actress who played Flo from Alice died.
Yeah, I saw that.
She leaves behind a lot of kissed grits. So that's what it says. I mean, I'm just reading what it says.
Remember, she used to say, "Kiss my grits."
Yes, indeed. Let's see what else we have.
Well done.
Twisted Sister, the singing group Twisted Sister, announced a 50th anniversary tour for 2026. Now, the FBI will be following them closely to make sure they use the right bathrooms. Twisted Sister. And now when they sing about "we're not going to take it," they're referring to Social Security cuts. So that's they're just not going to take it anymore. What else do we have here? Hulk Hogan's will named only a single beneficiary. It was a bandana shop in Clearwater, Florida. Yeah, and finally, Gene Simmons of Kiss says he learned to be humble from Ozzy Osbourne.
No kidding.
So we learned something new about Ozzy today. He was a terrible teacher. Okay, a terrible teacher. Because Gene Simmons and humble don't collide often in the same sentence.
All right, so
there's some news you might have missed.
Check out this crime story, which is kind of shocking.
Okay,
because it wasn't an immigrant.
Okay,
it wasn't someone who was poor.
Sure,
you'll be shocked at who it was.
58-year-old Paul Steed appearing in federal court in Bridgeport, Connecticut on Thursday. Prosecutors say Steed pleaded guilty to tax and fraud charges through various schemes, including diverting money to companies he set up. He's agreed to pay $28 million in restitution to Mars and another $10 million in back taxes to the IRS. Freed has been freed on $5 million bail. Chris DeMeo, Fox News.
Yeah, he was a former executive with the company, so well trusted, at least for a time.
Yeah, very interesting. And so there you have it. Of course, this hour has been brought to you by Kindness Worldwide, kindnessworldwide.org. Kevin Smith started this, and he is on a crusade, I got to tell you, and just doing a great job of getting the word kindness out there to people and the feeling, and doing a lot of different things to get people treating each other a little bit better, right? And we can certainly use a lot more of that as we saw this week. But when we come back, Jim McClure, our historian here in York County, joins us. Why settle for slogans in York County, PA, when truth is more powerful? We're going to get into some of that this morning with Jim and maybe some other areas as well, as he always brings something unusual and wonderful about York County and our history here. And then at 8:35, no Dr. Nick today. He's still on vacation,
What?
Mark. I know. Until the 22nd.
At least it wasn't a bike accident.
Well, there it is. But we'll round up all the stories that were interesting to you and maybe a few vignettes that you haven't heard about all at 8:35 here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK, where right now it is 8 o'clock.
York's only local show is back on its new home on York's only local station.
Guess who's back? Back again.
This is the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK.
I'm back.
Now, broadcasting live from WOYK's downtown York studios inside Wellspan Park, here's Gary Sutton.
Are we in the 8 o'clock hour already here on a Friday morning? It's amazing. I thought we just started. Here we are. It's 8:05 on the 12th of September 2025. 56 degrees outside on Brooks Robinson Plaza with the sun coming up today. It's going to be a gorgeous day outside, refreshing, and looking forward to a great weekend coming up. The Revs are out of town. They are going to be in Long Island tonight again. They figure to finish up their regular season in Long Island and Staten Island for the final 6 games of the season. Lost last night, a tough one, 5-3 here at the stadium in their final regular season game. Over 4,600 people out here last night, Mark. It was a great night. People out here. The homestand was huge in terms of the number of people who came out here to the games, and we're looking forward to the playoffs on the 20th and 21st when it looks like we're probably going to be playing Lancaster, which couldn't be any better. I mean, essentially that whole series
arch rival.
Yeah, it'll be here and in Lancaster, so you can get to both games. I mean, both cities for the games. But our presenting sponsor, as always, Barley Snyder Attorneys at Law. And why are they so good? Well, they're so good, they've got 130 plus attorneys who deal in 29 different areas of business law. And you name the area, they can probably cover it for you, okay? But they are located in Pennsylvania and in Maryland, and 130 plus attorneys to carry all that out. And I'll tell you what, we've got Barley Snyder right here in New York at 100 East Market Street, right across the street from the Yorktown Hotel, right there in the old bank building. Beautiful inside offices there. But they're open 9 to 5 every single day. You can give them a call at 717-846-8888, or you can go to barley.com. That's BARLEY.com. They are people that you're going to talk very easily to you. They want to know you. They want to know about your situation. They are experts. They are people who have great training, and they're ready to help you today. Ladies and gentlemen, there is none better than Barley Snyder Attorneys at Law, and they are ready to help you in your business situation, in your individual situation today. Find out about all the areas they represent by going to barley.com. And this hour of the Gary Sutton Show, the 8 o'clock hour, sponsored by Regents Glen Country Club, where I will be in about an hour and a half. And I'll tell you what, a better, more well-maintained golf course you will not find anywhere in York County, and I mean anywhere. Just perfect greens, fairways that you could just basically walk on, and they are just beautiful. Cut short, you get a good lie all the time. It's at Arthur Hills Design Golf Club, one of the great designers here in America. And they've got an 8-acre practice range, a short range you can work on, and some of the best pros and assistant pros you're going to find anywhere. Kyle Hess is our pro out there and does a great job, one of the great teaching pros here in the area. But more importantly, it is a place that you and your family can have fun, and it's affordable. Yes. We have a pool, and obviously that's closing right now at the end of the season, but we have pool memberships. We've got a workout area down underneath our grill upstairs. The Fairway Table Grill has all kinds of wonderful casual dining. You can sit outside. You can sit inside right now. It's just a beautiful place to be. Great specials each week. And they've got wonderful people who are waiting on you, who are ready to make your experience a one-of-a-kind experience every time you go there. We've got bocce courts, bocce leagues. We've got pickleball courts. We've got tennis courts. We've got housing going up out there right now that is really great housing. A lot of people living right on the golf course. We've got activities galore all the time. You want to find out if it's right for you? You want to find out how manageable it might be in your budget? You want to find out how affordable it is? Then you need to give a call today to 717-747-1919. That's 717-747-1919. Ask for Lacey, the general manager. She'll give you a tour of the place and answer all your questions and show you some of the great things about Regents Glen Country Club. Find out about it today. You can go to regentsglen.com, or you can give Lacey a call at 717-747-1919. Just go out and try it out. She'll show you around. There's no high pressure or anything like that. She'll give you a folder of all the things that they do, and it'll be a fun day for you. Okay? Lacey at Regis Country Club, 717-747-1919, the sponsors of this hour here on the Gary Sutton Show. It is time now to get to Jim McClure, our historian here in York County, who we talk about every week. But this week, the York City Police dedicated a new, actually it was earlier in the week, I think even last week, they dedicated this new pocket park outside their King Street headquarters. And there was a great article in the York Daily Record by Paul Kuhnel about this. But Jim McClure is here to talk about it this morning. Good morning, my friend. How are you?
Doing well, Gary. I think it's a great topic to talk about parks at a time of great, stress nationally.
Yeah.
And these parks are always built as getaways, green space, a time to, of peace in a city, in a heavily densely populated city. We have these green spaces, and yes, the new one was just dedicated recently, the Pocket Park on East King Street. And there really is a little history to that. For many, many years, this was kind of a safe space. It was a place for, for custody pickups, and a place for kids to meet after school, waiting for their parents. And so there's some history here. And then they kind of officially made it a park, a little pocket park, and it's just a really nice addition to the city. The city has 25 parks, that it sponsors. There's 11 county parks with 25 city parks, so they're all over the city.
When I came out of, I was in college actually, and one of the jobs that I had one summer was working as a park guy. I got a job working down at the park. I think I was at Lincoln Park for a while, and then I was at one other park. And I remember Chantel Tremitiere was one of the kids of my park, and got to know Chantel, who's since become pretty famous here for York, played basketball at Auburn, and has come back ambassador for the WNBA. And but I loved the park system. And I love being in a park. There was something about it. Kids come down there, and there are all kinds of activities we do during the day, and baseball and basketball. But there are other things, too, sitting down, doing painting stuff. The park gave you a sense of wellness, I think. I didn't know what the word wellness meant at that time, but I do today. And I think with kids, a nice, safe space, a place you could kind of just have a good time. And it's one of the, I think, the hallmarks of York. You talk about all the various mosaics. And the park system here was one of the really neat things about York during that time.
Yeah, there's some geographical sense that was applied to the location of the parks in the city.
Yes.
The very first park, Penn Park, was kind of on the south side of the city, and it was formed in 1816. And then in the late 1800s, Barker Park came about on the north side. And, that was on the hilltop that A.B. Farker, an industrialist, donated to the city. But then the next two parks, one was on the west end, Salem Park, which is still there.
Right.
And on the east end, the Albemarle Park.
Yes.
So those are the first four of our parks, all geographically located strategically.
Yeah, it was really neat, the planning on that, because for kids to play, all different kinds of places around the city. I remember Bance Park, and there's so many different ones. There are some that don't exist anymore. There was one down there on Carlisle Avenue across from the fairground, and there's a little school there now. I don't think it's used as a school, but out back was a park. And, I just remember a lot of people. John Eister, who's now a basketball official, worked for the bank, was one of my kids on that park. And, there was such... there was always a place to go in the city. There was always a place that you could go during the day. And I think that's one of the neat things for kids, that there was something always accessible. And I think your point that you make there about the geography, just great planning here to get those out all around so everybody had access to something, right?
Yes, and you mentioned Bance Park, and I have my favorite parks as you do, and I've been to all 25.
Uh-huh.
But Bance Park is one of the most interesting. It's kind of in the West End, and kind of maybe some people remember it from their childhood, but they haven't been there for a while. But it'll be kind of the trailhead for the West Side Trail that's going to go from Bance Park down to Foundry Park. So it'll be maybe rediscovered by cyclists and pedestrians and so forth. That is part of the Cadorus Greenway project that'll be and construction is going to start on that next year. One of the things about Vance Park is so interesting is that it was named after a woman, Julia Hartman Vance, who was related to an industrialist in town that took her name. So there's a little story about that in the on a rock there, on a plaque on a rock out there. And also that park offers really kind of rare creek assets. You don't find that around the city. Right. But a lot of fishermen go down there and walk down the bank and fish in the Cadorus Creek. And the last thing about that, there's a lot of other things, but one is there's a rain garden there in the corner of the park, right where the rail trail will start. The trail will start, and that's to receive runoff from the asphalt that's around. So it's a beautiful little. You don't notice that type of thing unless there's a placard there that tells you about it. Okay. So Vance Park's an unsung park, as many of these parks are.
I'll have to check that out. Of course, we have Memorial Park, and we've got places like that all over. And the one thing that distinguished all those parks, too, the big green box. You remember the big green box, Jim, that had all the stuff in you'd have for the park? We had a key to that box. We got that job, and like I said, I was in college at the time, and you come down with your key, and the day you came down, all the kids are there waiting. You open up the box, and you had all kinds of things in there, from baseball stuff to basketball stuff to coloring stuff to you name it. The big green boxes were hallmarks of all those kind of parks that we had right here in York.
Yeah, in some ways they, there's a program called Bring on Play that really makes a point to once a year to put new playground equipment in each of these parks. So they're going through all the parks and adding these. So in some ways, the parks are designed now for self-play. There isn't the finances available to have those official programs or as many official programs. So they've tried to do self-directed play with these new, very beautiful playgrounds that are out there. One of those playgrounds this is my favorite park is Arl Park, and I think it's at Patterson and King, in that's in the East End, and that's named after Arles, France, which is one of our twin cities. We just added a third twin city, interestingly, in I'm probably not going to say this right, but Aguadilla, Puerto Rico. So you go there and you think, well, at this time, Arles was our only twin city, and then we twinned a city in Germany, and now we have a third twin city down in Puerto Rico. So there's a plaque there talking about this twinning initiative that we've had in place since the 1950s.
Jim, great stuff this morning. Good memories. I'll tell you what, the park system here in our city has been excellent over all the years, and just one of the really neat things, again, that helps to bring York together. Jim is the author of Never to Be Forgotten. It's a year-by-year look at York County's past, and no one has done it better than that. 275 years of history. You can find it at right down there at the bakery, and I'm at Brown's Bakery, right down there in Loganville. You can also find it at the York History Center at the corner of Pershing Avenue and Philadelphia, right here in town. And I know you're speaking all over the place, Jim. Where are you going to be at next?
Yeah, one to point out is that Hometown History, Jamie Norpel and Dominique Miller and I, we speaking about Penn Park and other city parks on October 8th at Ollie. So if you want to come and hear about the parks, come to Ollie on October 8th at Penn State York.
And man, does Penn Park have a history? Holy smoke. I mean, that in itself is worth a few hours. That'll be interesting stuff. I know a hospital comes to mind there during the Civil War, if memory serves, but there's a lot of other things going on there. Jim, always appreciate you and appreciate what you bring. What do we have coming up next week here on the show?
Yeah, there's been some controversy over the trees being cut on West Market Street, and there's going to be some new trees coming up. So maybe we can just talk about that, because I don't think word is out. I think people think, well, those trees are gone, they're not going to replant any trees, but yeah, they are. Yeah. And we can kind of talk about that. And there's history involved with those trees that are cut down, and the fact that we have shaded sidewalks there. Yeah, so we can talk about that history.
If you've been driving out Market and you've noticed the pear trees are gone, yeah, they are. There was some information about that before, but it'll be interesting to hear where we're going next with Jim McClure next week. Jim, always appreciate great stuff. Thank you so much, and have a great weekend, okay?
You too, Gary.
Take care, my friend. Thank you. Jim McClure here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK. Don't forget to pick up his book, Never to Be Forgotten, Year-by-Year History of York County. WOYK News Time is 8:19. More news coming your way right after this on WOYK. It's 98.9 FM and 1350 WOYK AM. One of the most iconic TV songs ever.
You know what's weird about it? How many years was it on TV?
I want to say 8.
See, I thought it was more than that too, but the info we have says 4.
Wow.
I can't imagine that.
Yeah.
How long was Taxi?
Taxi. Good show. About everyday America, and about taxi drivers, the conversations, the things that come up, and it was fun.
It was a lot of new people. Tony Danza. And,
right.
Oh, gosh. Who
Before
else?
Tony Danza was on everything there for a while.
Judd Hirsch.
Judd Hirsch was in that. Who was the crazy comedian that was in that too?
Yes, the one who
disappeared, or not disappeared, he died early. Got in a boxing match or something.
Oh, I know. Well, he was on...
he was on Saturday Night Live. Here I come to save
the day.
Andy.
Come on.
Bring it to me.
You're
Bring it
close.
home.
You're close.
Andy Kaufman.
That's it.
Kaufman.
You got it.
There it was. It just took me a moment.
But the real, I don't know, was Christopher Lloyd the real star?
I don't know. Who was the girl that was in that too? Her
Mary Lou Henner.
Beautiful lady.
Judd Hirsch.
Yeah.
Jeff Conway.
Danny DeVito. Was he in that?
He was.
Yeah. So I mean, there was a
and
lot
his
of
wife,
people.
Rhea Perlman.
Yeah, so there were a lot of people in that who later on were on other shows, and and movies. So,
It was a very well written show.
Yes, it was. It was good stuff.
But it was on this date, 1978, that it premiered on ABC.
Hey, coming up tomorrow afternoon, by the way, going to be a beautiful weekend. At 4 p.m., Thomasville Country Auction is having a sale. Did you know that? Yeah, an outstanding estate sale. Now, I'm always interested in what's on an estate sale because I had to do one a couple years ago with Jack and Cheryl Hooks. And gold and sterling jewelry, lawn tractor. Yeah, you're in need of a lawn tractor? Well, here you go. Southwestern decor, statues, Indians, horses, etc. They've got all kinds of really neat stuff there. If you like that Southwestern decor kind of thing, there you go. Gold jewelry, including a 14-karat white gold diamond band with appraisal. Gold and sterling jewelry, silver jewelry, wrist and pocket watches, Husqvarna VTH 22V42 long tractor, mint condition set of 4 antique wood wagon wheels, outdoor chimney fire pit, oak hanging porch swing mark, portable electric fireplace mantle, metal garden bench.
Any video games?
Not yet. Metal wagon wheel. But here's how you can find out about what's on there. You go to ThomasvilleCountryAuction.com. You go down to the blue little tags down there, hit auction dates, and tomorrow is going to be September 13th, and you will see every item up for bid tomorrow afternoon at 4 p.m. Now, maybe you're saying, Gary, I've got some things I want to get rid of. How do I do that? Well, first of all, you call Jack and Cheryl Hooks at Thomasville Country Auction at 717-764-5403. Invite them out to your home. They're great people. They'll sit down with you. They'll take a look at your items. They'll talk about an auction. They'll answer your questions, what to expect, what not to expect, some things that might surprise you about auctions. And then they'll even offer to help haul the items from your house to their auction house, and then tell you about how they'll get on the right kind of sale or sales that best benefit you and your situation. Ladies and gentlemen, when it comes to trusting people, how about people who have been doing this for over 40 years and are going strong? Jack and Cheryl Hooks at Thomasville Country Auction. And if it comes to selling your real estate, Cheryl did that for me. Sold the real estate, saved me lots of headaches, lots of money, lots of time, lots of energy, and did a great job in it. Jack and Cheryl Hooks at Thomasville Country Auction. They have a sale tomorrow afternoon at 4 p.m. Route 30 West at the railroad tracks in Thomasville. WOYK News Time is 8:26. Mark?
How about some more health news? Check this out.
Experts are weighing in on how important it is for kids to never miss breakfast. Cleveland Clinic children's nutritionists say if kids don't have breakfast in the morning, they have trouble staying awake and can't focus on information. This is caused by drops in blood sugar, which impact their brain, mood, and energy level. Experts recommend at least 4 things in a breakfast: healthy fats, carbohydrates, protein, and fiber. Good options might be hard-boiled eggs, cheese sticks, fruit, Greek yogurt, turkey sausage, protein pancakes, oatmeal, or overnight oats. They recommend avoiding anything sugary, and for cereal, make sure it's whole grain, low in sugar, and high in fiber. House Call for Health. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News.
What do you think of that?
Oh, I like that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I like that a lot. It's and stuff that you kind of know, and yet at the same time, it's good to be reminded about that.
Here's the other side of it: is Chocolate Milkshake Day.
Yeah, you told me that.
Well, I'm just saying. Here they're talking about fruits and vegetables, maybe.
Right. And I like chocolate milkshakes. I just can't eat a whole lot of one. I ate about 2 bites of a mini the other day, and it was really, really good. By the way, NFL fans want a Saquon Barkley jersey more than anyone else.
I believe that.
Now, which former Penn State football star will be the next hot apparel seller? For now, the Philadelphia Eagles star and Nittany Lion great is the most coveted jersey in the league, according to a news release this week from the NFL Players Association.
I believe that.
Barkley's number 26 Eagles jersey was the top-selling jersey in the NFL during the recent offseason, March 1st to July 31st. Micah Parsons was the only other Penn State star to make the top 50, checking in at 38 before his trade from Dallas to Green Bay. Eagles quarterback Jalen Hurts is number 2 on the list, and defensive back Cooper DeJean checks in at number 6. Barkley has become an NFL sensation since being traded to the Eagles, leading the NFL in rushing and running Philadelphia to its second Super Bowl title last winter. So there you go. So Saquon Barkley, that. A hot item right now.
Yes, there's no doubt about it. One more quick story. Let's talk about, have you ever had a conversation with a chatbot?
One time. I was trying to see what it was about.
Yes.
And it was weird. It was weird.
Okay.
I didn't like
feel
No, I didn't feel warm and cuddly. I didn't feel like I was getting a lot out.
Here's the problem, though. Some parents are worried, legislators too, about chatbots for kids.
The Federal Trade Commission issuing orders to 7 companies, including Meta, OpenAI, Alphabet, and Snap, asking for more information on how these platforms measure, test, and monitor potentially negative impacts of AI-powered chatbots on children and teens. The agency says chatbots use generative artificial intelligence technology to simulate human-like communication and interpersonal relationships with users, designed to communicate like a friend, which may prompt some users to trust and form relationships with the tech. Officials say protecting kids online is a top priority, noting they are looking to understand what steps, if any, companies have taken to evaluate the safety of these chatbots and help users and parents better understand the risks. Kristen Goodwin, Fox News.
And then we'll do it anyway.
yeah, exactly right. Well, when we come back, it's 8:35. We're not going to have Dr. Nick today, but there was a company that offered the Phillies Karen. Remember the lady that
Yes.
down took the baseball?
Yes.
$5,000 for the home run ball, but there's a catch. And we're going to tell you about that story when we come back and review some of the other stories. Obviously, the shooting the other day, the murder, and some of the other stories that are out there that are serious, that are affecting you. We'll round them all up here at 8:35. We come back on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK. But first, news at the bottom of the hour. It is 8:30, and this hour being brought to you by Regents Glen Country Club, right there at 1000 Golf Club Road, just off Indian Rock Dam Road, where it is country club membership at a very affordable price, and all different kinds of ones available. Why don't you give a call today to Lacey, the general manager, right out there at Regents Glen. She's ready to take your call at 717-747-1919, 717-747-1919, or go to regentsglen.com to find out all about what Regents Glen Country Club has to offer you, from golf to pickleball to bocce to great activities to wonderful dining. It's all right there for you in one place, about 8 minutes from where Mark and I are sitting right now. Regents Glen Country Club. Call today, 717-747-1919. Get a free tour from Lacey and find out what it's all about right here in York. WOYK News Time, 8:30. One of the great groups of all time, Chicago, 25 or 6-4, right?
Yep. The bumper music today, primarily from the 70s, but we've had lots of other things like themed to Taxi, the Monkees. Remember the Monkees?
I do.
They debuted on this date.
Trying to forget them, but yeah.
Matter of fact, I have one more event that I haven't used yet.
Okay.
And it's, I'll just say it's Camelot-like. I'll just leave it at that.
Okay.
And we'll do it out of the last break.
Okay, that's good. Anyway, a Phillies fan has come under fire over the last week after she was seen at a game in Miami confronting a man in the stands over a home run ball. The internet has dubbed the woman Phillies Karen after videos of the altercation went viral. She had a Phillies top one. Now, a sports card company is offering $5,000 for the ball that the dad and his son gave to her to kind of get her just away, I guess. But only if the Phillies Karen signs it, I'm sorry. So they're going to give $5,000 to her for the ball if she signs, I'm sorry. After a woman was seen at a Phillies game last week berating another fan over a home run ball that he tried to give to her son, one sports card company is trying to get the ball back for the boy and offering top dollar for it, but there is a catch. Again, you have to say, I'm sorry, and you write that on the ball. Yeah, the viral incident happened in the fourth inning of the Phillies game against the Marlins in Miami on September 5th. After Harrison Bader launched the ball into the left field seats, as is expected at any baseball game, a mob of people went after the ball. One man came out with the ball, and he walked back to give his son the ball. That's when the Phillies Karen, as she's been dubbed online, stormed up to the man and demanded the ball back. The man eventually took the ball back from his son and gave it up. It all worked out for the boy in the end, though. After the game, the Phillies shared photos on X of Bader giving the boy a signed bat. What we know, but the one sports company isn't satisfied yet. Blowout Cards wants to get the ball back for the boy, and they've offered the Phillies Karen $5,000 for the souvenir, but they don't want the ball back without her signature, of course. Specifically, the company's offered to pay for the ball only if she signs it, I'm sorry. So now you test her out of her value system again, Mark, by saying, okay, not only were you a creep and running up to take the ball back for this kid, now we're going to make you publicly say you're sorry and take money for it. Take money for it. How bad is that?
You know, look, people do behave badly, and there should be some shame.
And there was in this situation.
Yes.
Probably too much. But
see, that's the problem.
Yeah.
That's what the social media does. It makes it.
Is the horse dead yet? Let me kick it one or two more times. Yeah.
Yes. I mean, there's no need. It's a baseball. She wanted a baseball. Right. So she was a jerk, but the father did the right thing. And that in and of itself was a great lesson.
And the team recognized it, brought a bat for his kid, signed by the guy that hit it out.
Yes.
I mean, the ball wasn't signed.
Yeah.
So
the lesson was, don't be a jerk.
Kindness pays.
Yes. That was the whole thing. So why do they have to, this is somebody else wanting part of the spotlight, and way of doing it is to kick someone. They're already down.
Yeah.
I'm defending Phillies Karen for crying out loud.
But you know what? The point, it's a good point that, you screwed up. You're a jerk. You may, hopefully, and maybe not because of what she did here. Oh, she also gave a finger to the section. She gave everybody the bird. Just in case that wasn't bad
because
enough,
they were booing her.
They were booing her. But the bottom line was, I mean, maybe she has some shame. Maybe later on, upon further review, she sat down and said, man, I was a real idiot.
I haven't seen any response from her
I haven't either. This blowout card says our offer is official and the offer is firm. The one thing we absolutely do know without question, the company wrote, is who absolutely needs that baseball in his new Harrison Bader collection. Really? So anyway, and I was reading another story about her this morning where they were talking about the idea of there's all kinds of lessons to be learned here. again, much ado over nothing, and yet at the same time, it is one of those tempest in a teapots, I guess you'd say. How about this one? Jalen Carter was fined $57,000 for spitting on Dak Prescott in the opening game between Philadelphia and Dallas. The NFL has fined Jalen Carter more than $57,000, and Carter was ejected before the play in a single snap Thursday a week ago. Carter was suspended for one game, according to the NFL.com's Tom Pelissero. I think that has since been withdrawn because he's paying the fine.
Yes.
But the suspension was considered served because the ejection was so early in the game. In other words, before he could even play it, so he's already spent that. And he spent $57,000 and apparently has apologized as well. So bad behavior. Come on, what are you doing spitting on somebody? It's
crazy.
I don't know. Anyway, there are a couple stories right there.
But, the spit thing, see, so Dak, the quarterback for the Cowboys, apparently spit on the ground while he was making eye contact. And then, Jalen took it a step further.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Here we go. Spencer Cox, who is the Utah governor, held a news conference late last night in Orem, Utah, on the investigation into the assassination of Charlie Kirk, and showcasing a new video of a person of interest and asking the public for help identifying them. We cannot do our job without the public's help, said Cox, adding that the FBI had received more than 7,000 leads and tips so far in trying to track down Kirk's killer. The surveillance video showed a person wearing a hat, sunglasses, and a long-sleeve black shirt running across a roof, climbing off the edge of the roof, and dropping to the ground. The person is believed to have fled into a neighborhood after firing one shot and has yet to be identified, officials said Thursday. The circumstances of the shooting drew renewed attention to an escalating threat of political violence in the United States. And I was reading today about, and he is still at large, by the way, authorities in Utah are working to identify the shooter. A high-powered bolt-action rifle was recovered from the area where the suspected Kirk shooter fled. The FBI said Kirk's killer appears to be of college age and blended in with the college population of the Utah campus where Kirk had drawn a crowd of thousands, an official said. We also see an article this morning where many who are representatives on Capitol Hill and senators are now canceling various outside events because of this, because of concerns about safety and concerns about copycats and all of that. So those are some of the stories out there on that particular shooting, and still a lot to be learned on that as they have yet to find the person who did the shooting.
Yeah, the president on Fox this morning saying that the suspect, they think, and that's underlined, that they think has been turned in by someone in his family. So there is that. We're waiting for confirmation and
I've not
more
seen that
details.
yet anywhere on any confirmation on that. So,
But here's an interesting fact I just happened to notice. Remember when I played the Bonanza theme?
Yes.
That was last hour because Bonanza was premiered on this date on NBC in 1959. But I'm just looking at a story, and it says that there was a very special thing with that first show. And Bonanza was the first regularly scheduled TV program presented in color.
Oh, okay. Did not know that.
Me neither. So I don't know who was watching it, but
yeah,
in color anyway. But
it's interesting here. I'm looking at the pictures of this, the guy they think might be the shooter.
Okay.
And there was a different picture that I'd seen before. He's running across a lawn. And apparently, I don't know if he's carrying the rifle or not. We saw the one, he's in the stairwell.
Did you see the one where, well, yes, the stairwell's closer.
Then he's outside and he's going across a lawn, and they're looking at and he's obviously putting his head down, obviously not trying to look up at the camera. He's aware that there are cameras. And so the guy's trying to duck those. And, we are looking right now to see if he might be in custody. The president said, I think with a high degree of certainty we have him. President Trump said during an appearance on Fox and Friends, I think we're in great shape and he's in custody. But we haven't seen it anywhere else. No one has said anything about it. And apparently, the president alluded to the fact that a relative may have turned him in. And so we're waiting to see any kinds of final confirmation on this. We have yet to see that. But I was looking, this was a new picture I had not seen, where he's running across a lawn there on campus, all dressed in black. And so we'll see if they get this guy. But remember we said yesterday morning, you're going to start seeing pictures of this guy. There's cameras everywhere, and there are. And I'll tell you what, you look at these crime cameras that are set up all over the place. I mean, someone's going to get you.
And it's a school, so
Yeah.
I mean I think that's logical.
Yeah, I mean, on campus, you're pretty much in a cocoon there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of the Kirk shooting, I was reading this morning where in the wake of the fatal shooting of conservative activist Charlie Kirk, and we were talking about this morning at Utah Valley University on Wednesday, several people, including employees in education and professional sports, are facing consequences at work over their social media posts responding to his death. From Iowa to the United Kingdom, a number of institutions have confirmed taking disciplinary action ranging from termination to administrative leave and ongoing investigations into posts that were seen as inappropriate or unprofessional in the wake of his killing. In North Carolina, a communications staffer for the Carolina Panthers was fired over comments made on social media that appeared to question public expressions of sympathy for Kirk. The staffer, Charlie Rock, also shared the Wu-Tang Clan song, Protect Your Neck, which some interpreted as a reference to the fatal shot which struck Kirk in the neck. Again, I don't understand why people need to say anything that would be controversial when someone's shot. I mean, there's something called decency.
Well, I don't think they're thinking about the repercussions.
I think you're right.
They get used to shooting their mouth off about everything.
Yes.
Every little thing. Now, granted, we're professionals. We get to do this here. But on social media.
Well, but there's a sense of decency, a sense like yesterday, we're not playing all kinds of joyful music or doing fun things because it was the anniversary of 9/11. And there's something built in called decency. There's something built in called a little bit of class. And I don't care if you're the president. I don't care if you're just a regular citizen. Use some class in these kind of situations and recognize the moment that you're in. Isn't that part of it, Mark? Recognizing the moment that you're in, and
yes, to a certain extent. And in this particular case, when you don't have any dog in the fight,
right?
I don't understand why you're.
We have a sense that we need to let people know what we think in that moment. And guess what? People aren't caring about what I think in that moment. People are caring about what happened. And then doing the right thing in terms of the reaction, having a little bit of decency. We'll talk about it more when we come back. 8:48 here on a Friday morning, right here on the Gary Sutton Show on WOYK.
wedding of Senator John F. Kennedy recalls Newport's one-time social grandeur. Speaker of the House Martin, screen celebrity Marion Davies, and former Ambassador and Mrs. Joseph Kennedy, parents of the groom, are among the personalities on hand to make this the top society wedding of the year. For the spectators outside the church, it's a real storybook wedding. A radiant bride, the former Jacqueline Bouvier, and a handsome groom. With a pretty wife and a politically rising star, the future seems bright for the junior senator from Massachusetts.
Yeah, it was 72 years ago today on this date, 1953. John F. Kennedy married Jacqueline Bouvier.
Yeah,
in Rhode Island. By the way.
And it was a beautiful wedding, and of course, he became president of the United States, and the history there, and the assassination, and all that, and the stories about him, and he was quite the bon vivant, if you will, and all kinds of movies have been made since then about he and Jacqueline Kennedy. There was even a Jacqueline movie that was out, and how he was a philanderer and all that kind of stuff. And I think there's still that sense that there was a Camelot during that time, that people aspired to be a younger president out throwing a football in the front lawn. We liked the perception. Yes. And then also you had the moment where he stared down the Russians over Cuba.
He was a World War II veteran.
He was a World War
combat
PT
veteran.
109.
Yes.
That whole thing. So there was and for a guy who served for 3 years, as president of the United States before he was gunned down in 1963 in November in Dallas, Texas. I do want to remind you of some tips. We're coming into fall right now, and Jack Giambalvo Family of Dealerships also has some great car tips for you. And here's something interesting. Did you do your pre-fall safety checklist yet? Think about this. Have your brakes, your belts, your hoses all inspected right now before cooler weather gets in here, and upcoming fall roads put extra stress on worn parts. You can also get inspected and rotate your tires as well. Summer heat wears tires down, so get them inspected as well. You want to have the proper tread depth and rotation. They improve grip, especially on wet, leafy roads upcoming here in the fall, right? So you have all that. And you can also top off your vital fluids from coolant and oil and brake fluid. They're crucial. Lower dirty fluids can lead to breakdowns. Don't risk it as fall driving conditions change. All that from Jack Giambalvo Family of Dealerships. And while we're at it, let me just mention to you that they've got some great pre-owned vehicles right now. If you're looking for your next ride, at Jack Giambalvo, they've got hundreds of pre-owned vehicles across 6 different locations right here in York County. If you see the Giambalvo name, they've got pre-owned vehicles there for you, like SUVs and trucks, sedans, imports, and domestics. I don't care what you're looking for. They've got the make and model to fit your lifestyle. Take it from me, Gary Sutton. When you buy used with Giambalvo, you'll get free lifetime state safety inspections for your car and even other vehicles in your household. Plus, your first oil change is on them. All the brands you want, hundreds of vehicles to choose from, backed by the community for over 40, or maybe make that 50 years right now, right here in New York. Jack Giambalvo started it all. John Giambalvo's carrying it on, and I'll tell you what, they are as good as ever. And whether it's buying new, buying used, Jack Giambalvo is the place to go. You can shop online right now for that pre-owned inventory at Giambalvo preownedinventory.com. That's Giambalvo preownedinventory.com. Jack Giambalvo Family of Dealerships. Experience the Giambalvo difference today.
I don't know about you, but I think I am a little bit excited.
Are you?
I know you're not excited about these things. You're not going to run to the theater to see this, but
I don't run to the theater to see anything.
See, I might do this. Deb's been feeling had a cold all week, so if she's feeling better, I think maybe we'll run or slowly walk to the theater to see this.
Downton Abbey, the grand finale, brings the Crawley family back to the big screen for one last chapter. Set in the 1930s, the story follows the family and their loyal staff as they navigate a changing world and face the future of the estate.
My God, what a melody.
He will be a sensation.
The beloved cast returns: Hugh Bonneville, Elizabeth McGovern, Michelle Dockery, Laura Carmichael, Alan Leach, Jim Carter, Phyllis Logan, and of course Maggie Smith as the iconic Dowager Countess, Michelle Polino, Fox News.
And the Maggie Smith one's interesting to us
Yes,
because
it is.
she died last year, and they must have had some stuff already done then.
In the can, as they like to say.
Either that or AI Maggie.
Oh,
I don't
my.
know. I don't want to be
It is
conspiratorial.
It's a National Day of Encouragement. It's Stand Up to Cancer Day. It is Video Games Day. The food holiday is National Chocolate Milkshake Day.
Yeah.
And now, let me blow your mind
Go ahead.
with a couple of interesting facts. Did you know that consuming 10 and a half cups of sugar, I don't know how you would do that, but if you did that all at once, it could kill you.
No, I did
10
not
and a
know
half
that.
cups of sugar.
I'm not surprised, though.
Did you know that soybeans were named after soy sauce, not the other way around?
Okay.
Did you know that Elton John's song Philadelphia Freedom, actually written as a favor to his friend Billie Jean King, because she was a professional, she owned a professional tennis team called the Philadelphia Freedoms at the time.
Right.
The team only lasted one season, but the song, of course, is still around today. Do you want to talk about Regents Glen?
I do. This hour has been brought to you by Regents Glen. Check them out today. Affordable living and affordable membership at a country club. It's right here in New York, 8 minutes from where we're sitting. Regents Glen Country Club, 1000 Golf Club Road, just across the street from Indian Rock Dam School on Indian Rock Dam Road, literally minutes from downtown New York. But great golf course, Arthur Hills. They've got pickleball courts. They've got bocce courts. They got activities going on all the time. They got a restaurant, the Fairway Table, and they've got all kinds of wonderful activities going on for you. Give a call today to Lacey at 717-747-1919 and ask for a free tour around there. She'll be glad to give it to you and find out about all the various memberships they have at Regents Glen Country Club. Don't forget tonight, 6:15 airtime for the Revs at Long Island Ducks. 6:30 will be the first pitch. High school football on tonight on 989WOYK.com. It'll be Andy Bria and also looking forward to a great game. It'll be Southwestern at Dallastown tonight in that one. I've had a great time. Hope you have too this week. Have a great weekend, everyone. It is 9 o'clock.